What's up, everybody? This is the Hedge Mage, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're kicking off a new series where we're going to be taking a look at some of my favorite new commons that are entering the Pauper format from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Today, we're going to be taking a look at three new black cards that, though I are probably not going to be format breaking or format defining, are pretty interesting and I think are worth taking a look at. Now, if that sounds interesting to you, definitely stick around as we'll be going over exactly what those cards do and how they could possibly fit in with either new brews or existing decks. As always, guys, if you enjoy the content that I create, if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate the support. Okay, so coming in at number three, we have Fake Your Own Death. For one generic and a black, it's an instant. Until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains when this creature dies. Return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control, and you create a treasure token. So we got another scam card coming into the format. Now we have a bunch of different scam cards. I think this makes it maybe the fourth or fifth one that are technically pauper legal. As of right now, there isn't a deck that is a scam deck. We just, I think, are lacking any sort of big payoffs for it at the moment. So hopefully we can get some new downships or some new cards to come in that can help make scam a thing in Pauper. As of right now, it's not really an established or supported archetype. We do have a bunch of scam cards as well as a bunch of payoffs as well with things like village rights and deadly disputes and those types of effects. There are a bunch of those. We even have Witch's Cauldron now, which also lets you draw cards and sack creatures. I think it also even gains you a life. So there is a bunch of stuff. This card does a lot too. I mean, it can be a neat combat trick. Also creates you a treasure token, which more mana is more fun for sure. So I really like this card, but I have it placed at the bottom at number three right now, just because there isn't really a scam deck. There was around the Lord of the Rings set. I did see a mono black scam list come out, but it kind of was more of a flash in the pan and didn't really stick around. But it did have some interesting things going for it. I don't know if this is the card that would take a deck like that over the top. I don't think it is. I mean, I think we still need some bigger payoffs for Scam as an archetype, though this is definitely a card to keep an eye on if that ever does happen. Ultimately, I do think that this card is playable, but like I have been saying right now, Scam or like Scam effects aren't really seeing play at the moment. This definitely does not have a deck that it's going towards, though it's definitely, I think, something Brewers may have a fun time with. Coming in at number two, I have Vault Plunderer for two generic and a black. It is a human rogue. When Vault Plunderer enters the battlefield, target player draws a card and loses one life, and it is a 3/1. So obviously, enter the battlefield effects have been proven to be very powerful. This card is no exception to that. It gives you card advantage and makes you lose a life. But the interesting thing about this card is that it is target player. It is not just you. You could potentially use this card as a way to kill your opponent. It's also a rogue, which means it has synergy in the rogue variant of mono black burn. So that is pretty cool. Will this take the place of Sign in Blood, which is already played in that deck? I don't know if I'm dropping Sign of Blood for this, though it is a rogue, so it's definitely something that I have my eye on for that deck, as that is a deck that I do like to play. So Mono Black Burn, I think, was probably going to be a pretty good fit for this card, though going from a 2 mana spell to a 3 mana spell that it does something slightly worse. I mean, if this did basically the same thing as Sign in Blood, but it was also a creature just for 1 mana more, I would probably be jumping towards this card pretty quickly. But since it is not, I am not. But it is, I think, a pretty good card. You could definitely use this as a way to just off your opponent once you get them down to 1 life. You could also use it to draw some extra cards. It is pretty good. Is it going to cut the mustard for the format? I'm guessing not, though I think it does have some consideration in Pauper Commander and PDH build, since this is just another way to get a body on the field as well as drawing some cards. And my number one new black card from this set is Desert's Dew. For 1 generic and a black. You get an instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. It gets an additional -1/-1 until end of turn for each desert you control. So this card is pretty interesting. I do wish it cost maybe 1 black instead of a black and a generic, making it a 2 mana spell instead of a 1 mana spell, as it is very similar to Defile, though potentially slightly better because you get that first additional -2/-2. It has a Defile like effect, which I think is pretty relevant in this format, as it is basically one of the best ways to deal with animated indestructible artifact lands, as you either have to exile them or reduce their power and toughness below 0, or 0 and below rather. So this card can potentially do that. All you would, for the most part, all you would really need is a single desert in play. And that is really easy to achieve now, as this set has brought a bunch of new deserts into the format. We have all these new pinger deserts. I believe Conduit Pylons, which will also probably get played, is also a desert. You also have the original desert, which is now, when it first was printed, desert was not a land type. Now it is, and due to the errata, it is also counts as a desert now. And that card definitely gets played. So there is definitely, I think, a huge argument for this card. It's definitely seems like one of the more powerful new black cards from this set. It is, as always with lots of standard legal sets, they are always kind of feast or famine when it comes to the new common cards. This definitely seems like one of the best ones in my opinion, as it is just a decent 2 mana removal spell. So it's definitely a playable card. The only big criticism I have for it is just that there's only one deck that really plays deserts right now, and they're not in black. So if this is going to make it into the metagame whatsoever, it is going to require it being in a new deck or a new build of an existing deck. Is that going to happen? That remains to be seen. I am personally going to hold my breath for it, but I do really like this card, and I think it is probably one of the more powerful cards from the set. And that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Would love to know what you think about these new black cards. Do you agree, disagree with the picks that I made? Are there cards that you are really excited about trying out from this set that I did not cover today? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time.